history, and is presenting the work of empowered women through the ages. So please give a big hand to Jemma.
When I was asked to do empowered women, I was thinking, and I do think occasionally. And I was really having trouble coming up with kind of inspiration to write something without being boring. You know, you pick a person and you say the date and you give an outline, and then you say another person, you give a date and you give an outline. And by the time you've got to 10 people, you're fast asleep. So I tried to do it a little bit differently. And how much time do I have?
Probably around 6 minutes
6,
or
7
so.
minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so I decided to look at some of the more obscure people, especially from way back when, because everybody does all the modern empowered women. So I thought, well, I'll do something which goes back into history. And so I said to myself, well, some are born to greatness. Some see and become great. Others are inspired and become great. Some just are and become empowered. Hatshepsut. Now some of these you most probably heard of, but maybe not. Hatshepsut, Egyptian queen of royal descent, made herself pharaoh, the first of her kind, great builder of monuments, temples, and more, ruled her people more than 2 decades or more. On the island of Lesbos in ancient times, Sappho, the poet, wrote her lyrical words passionate with love. Come back to me, Gongyala, here tonight, you, my rose, with your Lydian lyre. There hovers forever around you delight, a beauty desire. And then she also wrote, and their fair feet move rhythmically as tender feet of Cretan girls dance once around an altar of love, crushing a circle in the soft, smooth, flowering grass. She was one of the first poets of her time, daring to write about the forbidden love between women. And her quote is, what is beautiful is good, and who is good will soon be beautiful. Hordes of Roman imperialists, colonists, colonials wanted the world to conquer. They raped, they plundered and pillaged to reach their goal. One final outpost, just one woman, stood in their way. It was the year 50 AD. A husband dead. Boudicca, queen of the Iceni, was stripped of her lands and titles, her daughters raped, and she whipped and beaten. Not into submission, but into rebellion. Uniting the warring tribes of Britain, an army of 110,000 she did raise, to rid the land of this evil scourge. Very tall, her voice harsh and loud, her thick auburn hair hung down below her waist, a formidable foe. She fought like a woman scorned. To little avail. Eventually, defeat was on the horizon. But her name lives on as the spirit of defiance. And she says, I am not fighting for my kingdom and wealth now. I am fighting as an ordinary person for my lost freedom, my bruised body, and my outraged daughters. This person, he divided France, 1428. I was just 17 years old, born of a peasant family in a small, rural French village. Many mystical visions have I had. Voices from angels and saints. Voices to reunite our divided people. So my angel voices told me. Our king was weak and ineffective, and could do naught, whilst the Burgundians gave their support to the English interlopers. In the year of 1429, I donned my armour, took up arms and rode into battle, my army behind me. We fought and fought, till Orleans fell, then Patay, and the city of, don't know how to pronounce it, Troyes, I led our French lads, brave lads, to be rid of the English scourge. The Burgundians sold her to the English. They together found her guilty of blasphemy and condemned her to be burnt at the stake. Our life is all we have, and we live it as we believe in living it, but to sacrifice what you are doing and to live without belief, that is a fate more terrible than dying. Don't forget, love, it will bring all the madness you need to unfurl yourself across the universe. So said Mirabai, Princess of Rajasthan, devotee of Sri Krishna, poet, singer of devotional bhajans. Born in the early 16th century India, of noble family, a wandering sadhu gifted her a doll of Sri Krishna. She was enamored of her Krishna doll, embodying his living presence, vowing to make Krishna a lifelong friend, lover, and husband. Mirabai's father, with the different ideas, a marriage he arranged to a man of noble birth. By day, she served her husband, giving him due respect, but evenings were devoted to her beloved Krishna. Her husband died in glorious battle. You must do sati, said her husband's family, not approving of her religious piety. This I cannot do, was her reply. My real husband, Krishna, is not dead. Through relentless torments and hostility, she sought advice from saints and seers. Through her family, though her family wanted her dead, she slipped out of the palace to worship Krishna to her heart's content. Now her fame spreading far and wide, people came to hear her words of spiritual wisdom. One day, singing in the temple, Sri Krishna appeared in his subtle form. So pleased was he of her devotions, he opened up his heart center, leaving her body. Mirabai entered. 'Twas the Crimean War, bloody conflict, many dead and many wounded. Reports of British casualties in the press said, the wounded lack even the most basic of first aid treatment. Many soldiers were dying needlessly. This was the first war to be reported so vividly in the British press. Into the chaotic scene stepped one, Florence Nightingale, a nurse, asked to go to the Crimea to organize a group of nurses. She was very strict as to whom she chose to accompany her. Overwhelmed by the insanitary and primitive conditions, not enough beds, smelly, dirty, rat-spreading disease, it was like a hell on earth. Nurses, being only women, were relegated to cleaning. But there came a time when there were so many casualties that doctors were forced to ask for the nurses' help, to which the wounded were very grateful. Florence insisted on strict discipline from her nurses and made them wear distinctive uniforms. On her return to England, she was decorated with numerous awards, and after the war, she continued to advocate for the nursing profession and encouraging the improvements of hygiene in hospitals. There was one other pioneer of nursing that's not heard of very often in the Crimea. She was a Jamaican nurse by the name of Mary Seacole. Her reputation among the wounded soldiers was equal to that of Florence Nightingale, but Florence Nightingale had the contacts. Done them all? Yeah. Okay. One name stands out of the social media. This could be a little bit of a quiz, actually, if anybody has an idea who it is. One name stands out in the socio-medical field. The first woman to receive a medical degree in America, and also the first woman to be included in the UK Medical Register. She was born 1821 to 1910, and she helped break down social barriers enabling women to become doctors. Elizabeth Blackwell. What about a Polish scientist who won a Nobel Prize in both chemistry and physics? The first female professor at the University of Paris. and made groundbreaking work in the field of radioactivity. Born in 1868 in Cookstown, Ontario, got a Canadian this time. Family prominent members of society, married Arthur Murphy, an Anglican priest. Concerned about widespread poverty and in particular the welfare of women and children, in 1910 she became aware of the property law which gave women no rights whatsoever. If a husband sold property and moved out, the wife and children would be left without anything. She became a magistrate. The British North American Act of 1867 declared that a woman was not a legal person. She fought to have the law overturned and allowed herself to be named as a candidate for the Senate. But this was overturned by Prime Minister Gordon because the BNA Act did not recognize women as a person. See? Emily Murphy. Emily Murphy. 1928, the Privy Council in England, because she took it to the highest courts, Privy Council in England declared that women were considered a person under the BNA Act and were eligible to serve in the Senate. So that was until 1928. Born 1913, 2005. She died December 1st, 1955, and she is Black American, and she defied the government rules that only certain people were allowed to get onto certain buses. Rosa Parks. And one last one. She was one of the first people to be able to, without fear, to be able to shake hands with people with AIDS.
Diana.
Women empowered. That's powerful.
Oh, I got a gifty too.
A gifty too.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for getting